That's got to be good enough. You just send some links over and what have you and whatnot. How y'all doing? How are things going? Give me 1 second. We will. What's up, SA? This is gonna give me agita, huh? This stupid fucking rig. All right, let's fix this. I'm not even that fucking stoned. All right, stay. All right. That's gonna have to be the best we do here. All right, we're making some infused one-pot pasta, a little creamy chicken. Let's just link this up here with our Patreon. Okay. This is good. I'm good. What am I making? I'm making some infused creamy chicken pasta. We're gonna start in here. All right. Beautiful. All right. I got some guanciale here. We're gonna start with this guanciale. We're gonna cut it up, render it in this pan, and we're gonna cook everything in its juices. Anytime you're cooking any sort of fat, like bacon or pork, you wanna do it in a cold pan. Always a cold pan. You want the meat to heat up with the pan. That's how you keep it nice and crispy. We just want nice little pieces. We're gonna render the fat. This is left over from my barbecue this weekend. Doing a really nice and easy one-pot series. We infuse it all different kinds of ways. Today I'm gonna use RSO, which is Rick Simpson oil. I normally make a bunch of infused stuff for people with different kind of ailments. So I like to try to put them in some like really delicious foods. A lot of people that I make stuff for don't really have much of an appetite, so if you give them something that smells delicious and has a nice amount of THC, they will usually eat it. That's kind of how I go with it. There is another. My biggest qualm with YouTube is that it does not let me play music, which is annoying. How's everyone doing tonight? I've really given up on the Knicks. That's why I'm streaming tonight. Trying to find ways to avoid this Knicks game, this heartache. If you guys don't know what guanciale is, it's pork cheek, and it is really, really delicious. A little bit fatty, but really delicious. Has a great flavor. You should give it a try. So you'll find it traditionally in carbonara. But it's like a little bit more sophisticated bacon. So we want to get this in a nice cold pan. We want to render all the fat in here because we're going to keep it and we're going to use it to flavor our pasta. We're gonna cook everything here in this one pan. That's it. Not too much of a mess. Let's turn this on. You want it to be nice and high. This is a really strong flavor, so you don't want to use too much of it, and that is going to annoy me, that beeping. Yep. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare my chicken thighs. I got some nice skin on bone-in chicken thighs, but I want to take the bones out because it's going to cook slower. And if we take that bone out, it'll cook a little faster. It'll be a little juicier, be a little bit easier. What a nuisance. Bear with me here on the clicking. It'll stop, I promise. Oh my goodness. Oh, I got it wet, that's why. Anyone making anything good for dinner? What do we got going on? Ugh, all right, this clicking will stop. Just give it a second. This is why we can't have nice things. It never lasts this long. I feel like a dope. An idiot in my own home. I don't want to cook this thing off. So let's just pray that it stops. I gotta heat this guanciale up. All right. While that's getting going, let's debone these chicken thighs. I got 4 in here. You could do 2. I'm gonna make the whole pound of pasta. Don't want to cut it in half. Rather have leftovers. Okay, here comes the sizzle, baby. All right, we're gonna take the bone out of this bad boy. Trim some of this fat off. Really nice if we can do this before the guanciale is done, you know, kind of all in one. Easy to get the chicken bone out of here, the chicken. See that bone is in there? It's gonna run all the way through to here. Right there, beautiful. Just wanna kind of take your knife, obviously on a flat surface, and run it down on an angle through the bone. And then you'll be able to more or less pick the bone out. I could feel it, I'm holding it by the bone. And you just wanna stick your knife underneath and very, very gently let gravity kind of tell you where that bone is. And you just cut through it nice. This is going to take so much time off the cooking without having to sacrifice the skin of the chicken thigh. It's very simple. The knife is going to do almost all of this work here. You can see little tendons. You want to get rid of those. Boom. All right, and the clicking started. Stop. We can get rid of this this extra fat here. We don't need it. We just want the fat that's over the chicken. So we cut that out. You can save it if you want. You know, some people like to, you know, crisp it up and then kind of serve it on top. That's a fun thing to do. But we're not interested in that today. Trying to make a nice homemade quick meal for 4 or 5 people. Probably closer to 6 if you eat like a normal person. That's getting a nice beautiful color. You want to make sure you give it a nice flip. It will burn in this cast iron pan, but you want a little char, you want a little burn. You want to render that fat. Make sure you give them a nice flip. My computer is going absolutely haywire. Wow, beautiful little crunchy bits. We're going to get a lot of flavor in this pan. Don't be afraid to char it a little bit. Don't be afraid to add a little burn, a little fond, a little flavor to your life. All good stuff. These are just about done. Sammy gloves. I thought you were going to tell me to wear gloves. I was going to tell you to fuck right off. All right, we want to lower this heat now. We're going to get a little oil in there. We're going to get the chicken in there. We don't want it to burn. We're going to get the skin of this chicken nice and crispy from this rendered guanciale fat that's in here. All right, we're just living with the beep. Living with the beep. Let's lower this heat. Let's trim the rest of this chicken here, these chicken bones. I'll do that lickety split. Now you can cut the chicken up into pieces here and add it in. I like to cook it whole, and then I'll add the pieces later after I cook it. You can feel around this chicken and make sure you got anything that's kind of like bone-like. You'll feel it. You can feel it around. You want to get rid of this extra fat. We got 2 of the 4 done. We can go in nice with these. Oh, this beeping. All right, remember, we're going to go fat side down. You want to hear a nice hot sizzle. Really only going to be 4 or 5 minutes on each side because we're going to do them, we're going to cook some more in the sauce. So we do want a nice crispy skin. Ooh, the sizzling sizzles. Give it to me, Papa. Probably get time to roll a joint here if you got one. So a little bit hotter here. Remember, we don't want to cook this all the way through because we're going to cook it again in the salt. Want to get ready for the next steps here while we're going. Everything's happening in this one pan, so you want to be ready. These are just about ready for a nice flip. You try to remember the ones you did first. A nice crispy skin, beautiful. Get our stock. Need a little garlic here. If you have some shallots, this is who got the pink shirt for me? It's a good question. I think I got it. I'm a pink and purple man. I'm very Eastery. You know, my life is like one long brunch. So okay. Let's give these a flip. Look at all the flavor you can see on the skin of this chicken from the guanciale. Beautiful. I'm going to season with a little salt and pepper in here. Easy peasy. We're going to take these out, let them rest a little bit while we kind of make the sauce that we're going to cook the pasta. This is not the one you got me, Pez, okay? Not a garlic, which is a sin in an Italian household, but we got some garlic paste. I do look good in pink, though. I will say. It does fit with my whole vibe. Okay, I'm going to make some room on this guanciale plate. That's it. We only need a couple minutes each way. Will you stop hitting on me in front of all these people? Jeez. All right, we're going to take this out. We're going to let them cool. We're going to cut them up a little bit. Now here you can add a half a cup of white wine, or you can add a half a cup of stock. I'm going to do stock. What you want to do is deglaze this pan. You want to scrape off everything that's on the bottom. You get all the flavor that's in here, all that fond, all those delicious little bits. And you want the heat to reduce this in about half. Again, also great if you want to use white wine. I'm not a white wine guy. I'll just use the chicken broth and be happy. And we're going to go in with a little bit of garlic paste so we get nice and fragrant. Still want that to burn. Beautiful. Look at this beautiful flavor, this beautiful color. The pan is looking nice and clean on the bottom. You don't want anything you don't want to be scraping anything up when you're making your movements. You don't want to feel anything on the pan. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. We're on our way here, baby. We're on our way. Now, we got some pasta. What you want to find here is bronze cut. You see in the top it says bronze cut. On the bottom it says slow dry. So if you're going to use something other than a bronze cut, that means you're not using good type of flour. A lot of these like cheap companies, they'll try to speed up the drying process, obviously so they can make more. But what that does is kind of activate the gluten and makes it a little bit gummy, and that's why it hurts in your stomach. Barmuda, what's up? All right, we're gonna put our spaghetti in. Then we're gonna go in with the rest of our broth here. Turn up the heat a little bit. And we're gonna cook for 10-12 minutes. Let the magic happen. You wanna try to submerge as best as you can. You'll be able to do it much better in a minute or two when the pasta heats up and becomes a little bit more malleable. But you should see all these delicious flavors kind of heating up and stirring into the pasta. The pasta will be nice and soft, but I'll have some crispy on the outside. That's exactly what you kind of want here. And in the meantime, we got to cut up some of this chicken. We just roll a joint. Someone set a timer for 11 minutes, 10 minutes. All right, we got a little time here. You guys can ask me some questions if you have them. I have not put in the THC yet, but I shall. Put some in me first. It's hot in here, huh? I mean, none of you are in here, so you don't know, but it's hot in here. problem with pink is that I sweat through it quickly, you know? The chickens do have large talons. How much you want to bet I could throw a football over the mountain, Steve? Wow, you and Pez are both here. You guys got nothing to do tonight, huh? No bowling, no softball. What a shonda. All right, see, now we got this loosening up a little bit. We can start spreading it out. Beautiful. We want this to get to a simmer, and then we want to kind of bring it down. All right, we're going to cut this chicken after we light this joint. Hi, eating leftover Domino's. Damn it. Why don't you come and eat dinner here? I mean, I guess I'd have to invite you for you to do that, but you know what I mean. All right, what do we have here? That's a nice little simmer. Oh, shut the fuck up, James. You had an invite. Ooh, nice. Okay. Let's cut up a little chicken. Every Thursday, well, for the most part, every Thursday. But every week we're doing a one-pot series. Look how soft this pasta is getting. Now we can kind of shift it out, dunk it around. I'm going to keep it at a light simmer. Maybe going to lower this heat just a tiny bit. This pasta is going to start to soak all of these delicious flavors up. Let's lower it just a tiny bit. And let's cut this chicken, baby. Not ash in the food. It really is kind of depressing how little softball we've been playing during the week. I will say that. Okay. Let's cut this chicken up. It should look not ready, this chicken, when you cut it. So if you're worried that it might be a little bit raw or leaning towards the raw side, that's fine. We're gonna cook it for another 5 minutes in here. So, and there's no bone in, so you don't really have to worry. It'll go quick. I need a fork. Why don't you get the right tools, Don? And you can kind of go as thin or as thick or as big as you want with these pieces of chicken. I'm going to cut them into like little cubes here. Make it easy. at me not making a mess. That's a shocker. Now, if you don't constantly stir, make sure you get the ones at the bottom. They will stick to this pan because it does get hot. And you kind of want to mix around. This is all reducing all at the same time. But boy, does this smell ridiculously good already. Sheesh. Spread. Still got another 4 or 5 minutes here. If this dries out too quickly, you could always add a little bit more stock and you'll be fine. But this looks really nice. I use 4 cups of stock for a pound of pasta. I'm gonna post the recipe so you guys have it. We're just gonna let this reduce. We're gonna add a little heavy cream, a little cheese, a little chicken, a little guanciale. We're gonna have ourselves a nice pan here. I am gonna have leftovers, so if you guys need any leftovers, please eat it. Enjoy it. How silky this pasta is. Not to talk shit about my ancestors, but man, just kind of cooking pasta in a pot. I did not have on my 2025 bingo card of things that I'm gonna find absolutely delicious and much easier. But it's gonna soak all of this up here. Look how beautiful it is. Oh. Give it the trash, baby. Give it the trash. If you think it's drying out a little too much, you could add some more stock. You could add some more water. Just don't want to add any more heavy cream or any heavy cream just yet. It'll be too hot. All right, we got 2 minutes left on this bad boy. Let me get the Parmesan. Wow. A little splash of water because we still got a couple minutes left. Whoa. James, what did you make for dinner? Are you high eating Domino's too? No, I doubt it. You're not cool enough to be high eating Domino's. Hello, Flen. What are you, team flying? I don't know what that means, but it's interesting at least. All right, look how full this is getting. Gorgeous. Just need to cook some of this lasting water out. We've got a minute and a half left here. Wow, nice and wet. Love that for me. As soon as I'm done with this joint, we're gonna be in it to win it. and start adding this chicken. We want to cook it up a little bit more. The fat, the chicken, all of it. Guanciale is going to go in there. Some cheese is going to go in here. Some heavy cream. Boom. Nice big chunks of chicken in there. Once we add this heavy cream, we are going to lower the heat. But until then, we cut up these other 2 pieces of chicken. Beautiful. Okay. Let's lower the heat. We're right around 11 minutes. This should be perfect. Okay. Okay, heat is nice and low. We want to add a 1/2 cup of heavy cream, more or less. Sheesh. It would help if you open it, huh? We're having a party now, baby. Big fat party, and we're all invited. Now we going with the guanciale. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. We got 2 or 3 more minutes to cook. Let this cheese kind of acclimate, let the chicken finish. tested the brink of this pan's capabilities, but I'm proud of it for holding up to scrutiny. Wow. Now you can add some seasoning here, salt, pepper, basil, oregano, garlic. Honestly, whatever you want, whatever you feel like you need. But you got so much flavor in the chicken, the guanciale, the pasta. So much. Like different types of flavor, rendered fat, cream, pork, chicken, cheese. Oh, everything you could want. All you can handle, bro. We're gonna let this finish for a minute here. And we're done. Only thing I would kind of advise to do now is put a little black pep. I would do that on the plate. This is just magnificent, honestly. Let me do one big fucking pull here. Look at that. Wet, creamy, delicious. Some protein, some good quality pasta. Oh wow, I forgot to add the weed. That's a tragedy. Way to go, Dom. Just kidding. And never forget to add the weed. You should know better. This is RSO. This is the most cost-effective way to get your THC. It is a concentrate. You can eat it. Oh dear. What I like to do before I mess it all up is I will take a plate. You want to do this while this is still hot, because everybody has different tolerances, you know. Not everyone wants the same amount of THC. So I just take out about 60, 80 milligrams, because that's what I like to eat. And I kind of rub it in the hot sauce here. That's going to dissolve. So this one sip here is going to be about 60, 80 milligrams. Wow. So I'm going to make a plate here. And this is how you can make one item for a bunch of people with different tolerances, and you don't have to worry about trying to make extra. I could put 20 milligrams in this bad boy here. Here, nice and easy. We're going to take this and just kind of pour it right on top. That's our 80 milligrams of THC right here on this one delicious plate. And then I'll go out and I will go ahead and I will serve kind of everybody. I want a couple pieces of guanciale here. This way you can kind of cater. Oh, this is so creamy and thick and delicious. It's wonderful. This way you can cater it, because I have friends that, you know, look at Evan. He can only handle probably about half of what I can handle. And, you know, Mandy can probably handle double of him. And so this way, I don't have to portion control my... Thanks, bud. It is not a drug, you know, it's a plant. So you would have to say, instead of, you know, Evan's going to eat twice as much as Mandy. And Mandy can consume twice as much THC as Evan. So the math doesn't math. So by kind of doing this, you want to make sure it's hot. It'll dissolve right into the sauce. And then you can kind of... you can control your dose in every plate. Someone can come back for a second plate if they're still hungry, but don't want any more THC. So you're living in a world of ultimate change and ultimate options. So this is absolutely divine. Look how beautiful this is. This is going on the list, baby. No need to keep it off. It is phenomenal. Make it at home. If you guys have any questions, just shoot a comment over my way. I'm happy to answer. I got a little ball, a little mutz. I'm gonna cut it up, put it on top, and quietly have myself a little bit of a Byzantine nap, if you will. All right, if there are no more questions, I'm going to eat this like a glutton in the peace of my own home. Wow. That is for suredly THC. All right, do we have any questions? Marijuana was everywhere when I was brought up, you know? We got a little fresh parm we can throw on top of this plate. All the fun stuff. I need to get a fork. I want to clean some dishes. We will be back here next week with a one-pot recipe that is going to involve some delicious steak. So be here, you know, be ready to eat. I don't know if you guys want, I can start posting what I'm making ahead of time so you can also you know, get the ingredients, or you can just watch me make it, decide if you want to make it, and then make it after the fact. But I will post this recipe. This is a recipe that's going to be a stayer or whatever. It's going to be a part of the regular rotation. These are all the flavors I like. All right. Thank you all for being here. I'm sweaty, it's hot, and I'm wearing pink. So it's time for me to eat this food. Maybe take a little, that's too early for a nap, too late for a nap, too early for sleep. That's a problem. So I guess I'll just have to smoke a couple more joints and pass the time. But until then, until I see you next, go over to the Patreon if you're not there already. Give us a little donation. You know, you can get some recipes, some more videos. Hit the bell so that you know you can find out when we get when we're going live. But we're going to continue with the one pot recipe. If you have any recipes you want to see, please let me know. I do take requests. Let's go Knicks. As foolish as that sounds, we got it, baby. We're coming back. Knicks in 7.